All right, guys, so I've ran into a situation that I haven't ran into before, and I just want to kind of shed some light onto it. Now, usually when I put the timing covers on, okay, they line up correctly, and for some reason, this one, it doesn't for whatever reason, so I'm going to have to take it back off, and I'm going to have to clean the surfaces. It's no big deal, okay? It's just a timing cover. I'll clean up the gasket area and just go from there. But one thing that I did notice, and I check this, okay? And like I said, I've never ran into this till now, so I'm it's kind of a learning curve, I guess you would say. But I got an HCI hub on it right now, and I always check because this timing cover moves on the block ever so slightly, and I was going to put some cartridges and press the cartridge sleeves in the timing cover because once again, the Mopar, they use the actual drilled threads as the dowels when they're lining up their machines and everything. And what I'll do is I'll actually get it to where the cartridge of the bullet will press in and it'll sleeve the bolts like I did on the oil pump, and that'll center everything because it's like Harley Davidson. Harley Davidson doesn't use dowels; they actually use the tap of the block. So at any rate, I just might get some cartridges and press them in there and get everything centered up. But this is what I'm running into. So you see the seal, how it's touching there? Let's see over here. It kind of grabbed it a little. And that's because the timing cover is off. It's not really centered. I know you're going to say, well, it's because of oil and you didn't lubricate it properly. But as you can see, there's oil on it. What had happened, or what the issue is the timing cover itself is off. You see that gap? See the gap in the timing cover seal there? So what I need to do is I need to actually move that timing cover up, okay? It's sitting too low. And what's happening is it's putting excessive pressure on that lip, and it's grabbing it like that. And obviously it's not grabbing the bottom, so it's going to leak like a sieve. So just something to look out for. Now, like I said, I haven't had a problem in the past, but for whatever reason it's doing it to this engine. So that's where I'm kind of at with it. So the time cover is going to come back off. I'm going to get it readjusted, realigned. I'm going to keep the hub on for reference and bolt it back down. So I'm going to get to it. Obviously, I'm going to have to, remove remove everything, clean the surfaces. I'm going to have to pack the oil pan, which would actually be a good idea to check, just to double check the pickup alignment on those 3 nipples in the bottom of the pan, just to make sure they're resting on there and everything is clearanced well. But yeah, so just something to look out for. I really like that wrinkle. Look at that. Look at that oil pan. It's beautiful. I actually ran out of paint in the front here, so that's why it's kind of smoothed. You actually have to layer it. There's a cobweb, something. At any rate, you actually got to layer it, and it's very slow drying. And because it's very slow drying, it kind of skins over and makes that wrinkle effect. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But I'm gonna get to this, and at this rate, I don't know if I'm gonna make the No Name Nationals. I'm just gonna have to just take the golf cart up there instead. Maybe I'll just take the Gator. Or maybe I'll just tow it with the Gator all the way to No Name Nationals. Oh well. Then you got this guy leaning over my shoulder. Nice Fu Manchu there. Half of it. Anyways, I'm going to get to it, and 1 step forward, 2 step back at this rate. But she'll get together. She'll eventually get done. All right, guys. Go blow gear in someone's ear. Later. And just to kind of show you guys what type of gasket is made, I actually had to beat that off with a dead blow hammer to break it loose from the engine block. But that 518 Loctite, that's what kind of gasket it leaves. it hardens, okay? And if anyone, if no one's ever told you the way Loctite actually works is actually it's in the absence of oxygen. So when you don't have oxygen, it starts to harden and cure. And as you can see, it's very, I mean, see how oxygen was getting to that? It's still liquidy. They call it an anaerobic. Oops, almost dropped the phone. So they call it an anaerobic gasket maker. So what that means is if this was to get in the engine, it would just kind of mix in with everything and, you know, not harm anything, okay? And that's another reason why I use it. So unlike silicones, what happens is if it gets somewhere, it'll clog it or, you know, wedge itself into some place that is not very good for it. So at any rate, I just want to give you guys a little video of that anaerobic sealer there that I use, and that's all. There we go. That's what fits the timing cover, and basically every 3/8 bolt to sleeve it. So I'll be cutting that off and pressing that in, and what that does is it sleeves the bolt, so it puts the timing cover exactly where you need it, centered where they use to machine the block. So that's what I'm doing. The anaerobic sealer, when you scrape it off, that's what comes off. And that's what I use to scrape it off with. Carbide tip scraper. And just so you guys know how I cut these, wrap some tape around the bolt. Now it's going to shove that timing cover where it needs to be.